What is up, guys? It's Scott here and welcome back to FudgeMuppet, a race that is quite often overlooked in the Elder Scrolls universe due to the fact that they share the name and appearance characteristics of the overdone fantasy trope, is the Orcs. The Orcimer are actually far more interesting than your standard unforgivable baddies and cannon fodder for the heroes of Mer and Men. Orc culture is actually quite fascinating, and the social dynamic within their strongholds makes for characters who are much more complex than big dumb brutes. In this video we're going to be showing you our top 5 Orc builds, so for anyone looking for a new playthrough, you may just find yours here. Over at Twitch we've been streaming our latest character, a female Orc vampire, and that sparked many people asking about Orc builds, so here we are to deliver on that. If you're interested in watching us play Skyrim, check out our Twitch channel, the link is just below in the description. Despite Orcs being associated solely with heavy weapons and armor, we have quite a diverse cast of playstyles scattered throughout this top 5. It is worth mentioning that we have elected to leave out 2 of our fan favorite builds, the Sand Demon and the Abomination, as they're featured in a few lists recently, and to be honest, they're more monster than Orc. Let's get things started with a traditional badass. This build is designed perfectly to fit with Orcimer culture. He is the top of the pecking order within his Orc stronghold, and in order to fulfill that role, he has to be an absolute beast on the battlefield. This is of course the Orc War Chief, wielding the legendary hammer known as Volendrung, which is also a Daedric artifact belonging to the mighty Malakath. The Orc War Chief crushes his opponents with sheer force and momentum of his powerful swings. On top of his enormous frame, he wears ancient Nordic armor, which provides plenty of protection as well as an imposing aesthetic. The Orc War Chief channels the will of the Orcimer patron deity, Malakath. He protects the spurned and ostracized and fights for his fellow Orcs who are looked at with much disdain across Tamriel. Next up we have our modded build, and for that reason she brings a ton of new possibilities to the table. This is the Beast Rider. Thanks to the wonders of modding, this character rides around Skyrim on the back of a heavily armored bear. If the might of an orc wasn't intimidating enough, seeing the Beast Rider perched atop her unconventional yet mighty steed will surely deter even the bravest foe. This build uses the Immersive Weapons mod, the Immersive Armors mod, and the Tumba Jamba's Mount mod. With the first mod you can get your hands on the Orcish Sabres, which are the perfect modded weapon for a true Orc. Then with Immersive Armors we can get one of the most unique aesthetics to date, the Dragonbone Ebon Steel Armor. Combined with your armored bear, this combination makes the Beast Rider look like a deadly savage. Lastly, the Ordinator perk Overhaul opens the door to plenty of one-handed possibilities. You can cavalry charge into a crowd of enemies holding the reins with one hand and slashing with the others, or you can hop off and switch to dual wielding your sabres. Also, it's a good idea to mention that she is one of the Iron Orcs, which is a very interesting clan. Our third build on the list is not what you would expect from an Orc. This guy shuns the Warhammer commonly attributed to warriors of his kin and instead turns to the arcane arts. This is the Sorcerer. He continues to use his innate strength in order to wear a formidable set of Daedric armor, giving him an advantage over the many mages who wander into battle with flimsy robes over their underwear. Learning from a variety of masters over Cyrodiil, the Sorcerer can call upon all the elements to find the weaknesses of every enemy in Skyrim. The Sorcerer is no stranger to being shunned, and in Skyrim he is considered inferior not only because of his Orcimer heritage, but also because the Orcs think he relies on magic too much, and the superstitious Nords are not fond of him either. With the full set of heavy armor on, including the helmet, you can completely remove your magicka casting costs, allowing you to go crazy with spells, not wasting any time being conservative. At number 4 we have the Exile. As I mentioned in the intro, Orcish culture is not taken lightly by the inhabitants of the Orc stronghold, and weakness is also not acceptable. The Exile was too frail to properly serve as a warrior and was considered a waste of good food by his kin. The Exile was expelled from his home and sent to fend for himself in the wilderness. The Exile countered his physical weaknesses by mastering magic. He still fights like an Orc, but instead of carrying heavy arms, he conjures blades from Oblivion and powers himself up with the Dragon Aspect Shout. He may not wear armor, but alteration magic counters that. The Exile hates Orc culture now and embraces his deportation by becoming a true traitor to his kin, killing the inhabitants of every stronghold he can find. He revels in the justice of delivering a killing blow to densely muscled warriors who shunned him. Finally, we have the Craftsman, and this guy provides a brilliant role-playing experience that isn't solely focused on combat. The Craftsman is a master smith and a skilled enchanter. His fascination for mysterious materials as well as ancient architecture and Akaviri armor makes him stand out from the common Orc dressed in green orichalcum. He's a connoisseur of fine weapons and armor, and it is his goal to search every nook and cranny to find every piece of equipment in the land of Skyrim, and there's very little he cannot take to the grindstone or the workbench to improve its maximum potential. The last thing that really sets him apart is his love for Tamriel's history. He will read whatever books he can to improve his knowledge. When he enters a fight with his various dual-handed weapons, he goes in knowing his foe's weaknesses and the best strategies for victory. It's not just swinging like a brain-dead buffoon. Due to his vast collection of weapons, he'll have a Daedric Warhammer, a Stalrim Greatsword, and a Glass Battle Axe. All of these will have various different enchantments that you can hear about in the build, but there are just so many options for each fight for the craftsman. Subscribe to FudgeMuppet if you're new to the channel, and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Links to all the mentioned builds are in the description, along with our social media accounts and our Twitch channel, where you can see us stream our current Skyrim playthrough, who is also an orc. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I've been Scott, and I will see you in the next one.